What's up, guys? So I didn't really get to film a whole bunch of this calico bass fishing while I was out there. I pretty much just got the one calico on film.
That's so awesome.
Just got this nice calico 3/8 hookup bait, green sardine. Good in.
Right.
And then a few pictures. Because my GoPro had already died at that point, but I wanted to show you guys how I was catching them. So right here, I have my 5/8 and 3/8 hookup bait jig box. The color that I was throwing was sardine green, and I was throwing that in the 3/8. Right here I have a 5/8 jig, and both of them work. The 3/8 is just what I happened to pick up because I was using a spinning rod and I wanted it to have a more natural fall, and I feel like with a bait caster I like the 5/8, where on a spinning rod I kind of like the 3/8 a little bit better. One thing, if you are going to be using 5/8 and 3/8 ounce jigs, I wouldn't put it past me to use a little bit of a wire leader, especially right now. The barracudas are pretty thick. I caught a couple that day, and then another day that I was out there using wire leaders, I didn't get cut off nearly as much, but the barracudas will definitely cut you off. And calicos, they honestly don't care if you have wire on there or not. So I think it's worth it just to put a little bit of that on there. Also, I only use 15-pound test. This is P-line fluorocarbon. Picked this up at like Walmart, Squidco, local tackle shops, anything like that. But so this is a 5/8 hookup bait. And this day I wasn't using any scent, but you can use some scent right here. I have this yellow fin bait scent. That's a great one. This is currently my favorite scent that hookup bait sells. And then the other one that I really like is the crustacean scent, if you want to give it a red belly, or if you're using a color like red crab or maybe pink, that kind of thing. So like I said before, if you're going to be using 3/8 and anything under, I don't recommend using a bait caster. Not necessarily because you can't cast it, but mainly just because when you put it in free spool on a spinning reel, the line just lays perfectly out, and you can do it with an 1/8 ounce jig all the way up to a 4-ounce jig, 6-ounce jig, any of that. The line's just going to lay out pretty much the exact same. You may have to feed it a little bit more if you're using a real light jig like an 1/8 ounce and lighter. But with a bait caster, your bait doesn't fall perfectly unless you have something like 3/8 is kind of like the bare minimum, but 5/8, a 1-ounce bullet, all that kind of stuff works great. The thing that I do like about using a bait caster, right here I have the Lexa 300 Win model. One thing that I do like is that you can take your finger right underneath where the line lays and lay your finger right there, so that way as the line is pulling off the reel and the lure is falling, you can feel the line with your finger. And if you feel a little pop, anything like that, it's really, really sensitive because it's right up against your finger. And then I don't set the hooks on calicos. I just pretty much burn it when I feel that little crank, and most of the time you'll hook up. So like I said, this is the Daiwa Lexa 300 Win. Right now I have 40-pound white on here. And then the rod that I'm using is the 7-foot. Oh shoot, that's upside down. And I can't flip it. Okay, anyways, this is a 7-foot Seeker Inshore Pro. This is the Corey Sannon Special. I also bought this at Squidco. This entire combo I bought at Squidco. And then the retrieve that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make a nice far cast. What I was doing is I was fishing in the kelp stringers. I'm fishing in between, so it's called potholing. And basically you'll see the kelp stringers and they're in lines, and you just cast down a lane straight into the holes, and you're just going to let your jig fall. Let it fall for 5 to 15 seconds. I like right about 8 to 10 seconds. I like letting it fall probably 15 to 25 feet, depending on where the fish are and all that kind of stuff, but let it fall for a good bit. So you're in free spool. Anyway, so I'll just start cranking, and if I don't get anything for probably 3 or 4 cranks, and a crank is starting down here all the way back, so 1 full rotation. If I don't get a bite within 3 or 4 cranks, I'll let it sink for probably another 5 seconds, and then just keep doing the same thing, and eventually you'll get a wolf pack that follows it. And that's another thing, if you're fishing for calicos, I like having a few rods rigged up. even if you have like a 5/8 jig and then a 1/4 ounce jig on a spinning rod, and having the spinning rod next to you, so that way you can crank in, and then when you hook up, a lot of the times you'll have 4 or 5 followers, sometimes even I've seen as much as like 15 followers with a Calico, and a lot of the times you can pick up that spinning rod and just set that right down if you put your bait caster in the holder, and a lot of the times you can get a double hookup with yourself that way. That's a great way of doing it. And anyways, so let's get into the cooking process. I did really simple, just basically what I had in the house, fish tacos. Let's do it. Alright guys, so I have my fish seasoned up right here, and to do that, all I used was Tony Chachere's, the original, and then I also used this product. It's a blend of 3 spices, salt, pepper, and garlic, made by Kinder's. So right here I'm putting some butter in the pan. I'm going to go ahead and let that melt down. Once it gets down to this point, I'm going to put the fish in. Now I put it in seasoning side down because I only seasoned one side of the fish. And then once it's in the pan, I can hit it back with the seasonings that I did before. Alright, so after I hit it with some seasonings, I'm just going to let it brown on this other side. Let it get just a little bit crispy on the other side. I'm not doing fried here, but I'm going to let it get to a nice browning. And then I'm going to go in with the spatula and just go ahead and give it a good flip. And right there is what you're looking for. And then I'm coming in with a pinch of cheese after this has been cooking on this other side for probably about a minute. Again, fish doesn't take very long to cook, but that's what I'm doing. And then after I've put some cheese on top, the key part is to put that lid on and just let the cheese melt up just a little bit. So after your cheese is melted, I'm just coming in right here. I have a tortilla that I've heated up on the burner, and then I'm doing 2 pieces of fish per. And then I came in with some onions and tomatoes, and then right here I have some green hot sauce, putting that in, a little bit of lemon to finish her out, and then fold her up and she's ready to go. And just like that, you have a nice little fish taco for lunch. Enjoy. Alright guys, so I hope that you guys did enjoy that video. If you did, let me know, and I'll be sure to do more catch and cooks. Let me know if I should do a different species next time, or what species you guys would like to see. Also, if you guys would like, I could also do a full in-depth video on how to catch calico bass. It's not too hard, but I like doing it. This day I was out at La Jolla, but you can also do it at Point Loma, and I'm just talking SoCal locally. That's where I fish, but you can do it pretty much all the way up to probably, I don't know, probably as far north as like Santa Barbara. I think they still have calicos, but anyways, go out there, go into the kelp lines, try this, and then try this recipe. See how you guys like it. Also, if you guys don't mind, give the video a like down below, subscribe, and today we just hit 600 subscribers on my Instagram, and I'll have that down below as well. It's Diego Fishing Sand. If you guys haven't checked that out, be sure to do that. Thank you guys so much. Anyways, catch you guys out on the water in the next one, and until then, tight lines.